We're very happy to have you here for this lunch presentation. And what I wanted to do was share with you a little bit about BioBridge Global and what we're doing in the regenerative field. And that's quite a long title, how blood banks and other nonprofits can participate and advance regenerative medicine. So I kind of want to make this simple for you. And today my objective is to explain why a not-for-profit would be involved in this endeavor, how we're going about that, and some examples of exactly what we're doing. So that's what we're going to do today. So we have a mission at BioBridge Global for saving and enhancing lives around the world. That is a mission statement that probably each of you have out there at your own organizations. We began 40 years ago with a community blood bank here in San Antonio. So we're celebrating 40 years this year with South Texas Blood and Tissue. In the last 2 decades, we've expanded our operations and services as we look strategically out into the future. So we began by adding a tissue services. We added a public cord blood bank. We've added a cell therapy division. And we've moved all of those into a subsidiary called GenCure. And we also have a foundation. So at the last 20 years, we have been expanding and reaching out with our services that we've provided to the community. And bringing all of that, this thing is not working well. We've pulled all that under the umbrella of BioBridge Global. And so we have a mission, but we also have a strategic goal. And that strategic goal is to enable the advancement of the field of regenerative medicine. And our whole enterprise is contributing to that advanced goal. And we'll talk about one of the initiatives that we have with that strategic goal. The bottom line, I think, for everybody at this conference is getting the life-saving treatments to patients as quickly and safely as possible. And that's really what blood bankers are trying to do, to participate in that and to assist in getting those treatments to the patient as rapidly as possible. Historically, blood banks have been very proficient at collecting, processing, and distributing cell therapies. It began very simply. We collected it, did 2 tests on it. In 6 hours, it's sitting over at the bedside and the patient was getting the blood. We've advanced quite a bit, and so we use the term advanced blood service resources at this point because our collection processes have become very sophisticated and automated. They have expanded to include not only whole blood, but peripheral stem cells. We now collect bone, tendon, skin. We collect umbilical cord cells. So the types of products that we collect now have greatly expanded. So blood banks have expanded their expertise in collection of tissues. We process. We take those products, we can fractionate them. We can do advanced infectious disease testing on those products and other specialized testing. Fractionate them into different components and prepare them. And we distribute. We've become experts in distribution of cell products, not only to the hospital across town, but to a hospital in the next county or state. And at BioBridge Global, we've become proficient at moving product across the U.S. and even internationally. And sometimes that is quite a chore. So we have some advanced infrastructure in place. And as cell therapies move forward, we think that those infrastructures will become very valuable because as the cell therapies become available, there are going to have to be robust systems in place to collect, to process, and to distribute those products back to the patients. And we're well positioned to do that. We do all of that wrapped into a very complex regulatory environment. And over the years, over the decades, blood bankers have become experts in the regulatory environment. Not only FDA, GMP, at BioBridge Global, we maintain ISO certifications for our subsidiaries. So we have AATB. It's a whole myriad of regulatory requirements that we have to comply with. And blood banks are quite proficient in that regulatory environment. It also extends out for BioBridge Global to a lot of European and foreign countries. We regularly have visits from Korea, Japan, the EU. So with some of the services that we offer, for example, Qualtex, their primary customers are European-based. And so we have a lot of activity going on globally as well as nationally. So while BioBridge Global has collaborations underway on a national level and one international collaboration that we're working on, what I wanted to highlight today is collaborations that BioBridge Global has undertaken locally, because I think that we have an extraordinary environment here in San Antonio, a collaborative environment that I'd like to highlight. We have the good fortune to have a not-for-profit organization called BioMed SA here in San Antonio. And they are truly bridge builders because they have been very valuable to BioBridge Global in bringing the biotech industry, the biomedical industry together here in San Antonio. So I wanted to take my hat off to them. I have 3 companies highlighted at the bottom of the slide: XBiotech, Sterile Medical, and Stembox. And 2 of those collaborative agreements that we've worked have involved the San Antonio Economic Development Foundation. So it has truly been a collaborative effort between BioBridge Global, our economic development, our city government, and BioMed SA assisting with that. So the first, I did not go into a lot of detail with these 3 companies that we're working projects with, because they each have wonderful websites that detail all of the advances that they're working on. And what my task today is to highlight for you, how has BioBridge Global and the assets that we bring to bear, how have they helped those companies in bringing their products to clinical trial or to market. So the first one I wanted to highlight is Stembox. And Stembox is a meeting also with some wonderful literature, but they've developed an advanced stem cell culture system. And we've been working with them for about a year, maybe a little more than a year. And one of the things that we've been able to do is to provide raw material, to provide some umbilical cord blood stem cells to aid in their research. And recently what we've done is we have developed a 1,000 square feet of GMP lab that they have recently moved into. So they have actually moved their manufacturing of their product over to our facility, and we're now sweetmeats, I guess. They're occupying some space under our roof. And the wonderful thing that I see coming out of that is that as we get our scientists in the same location talking, we're now starting to collaborate on additional projects that we can move forward that would benefit both Stembox and GenCure, the organization that is focused primarily on regenerative medicine for us. So that's been a wonderful collaboration, which continues, and I'm looking forward to additional developments in that arena. Another company that we've helped is XBiotech. This is a company that's headquartered in Austin, Texas. And they approached us with a project to help them identify an antibody to MRSA. And so what we did is that we provided them over 1,000 whole blood samples to screen, and they were screening for a particular antibody marker in those donors. These were healthy whole blood donors, and they found a donor that had the marker that they were looking for. So we facilitated and arranged with that donor for them to donate a unit of whole blood, and were able to harvest the B cells from that unit. They cloned them and grew them, and they now have a product that is an antibody to treat MRSA infection, which is huge, and I think it's scheduled to go into clinical trials next year. We're in discussions with them right now to set up a second study where we can provide samples for them to screen. This project actually crossed over two of our subsidiaries. South Texas Blood and Tissue had access to the whole blood donors. Qualtex had access to the samples. In addition, Qualtex has access to international sources of material as well. So this turned out to be a wonderful collaborative effort. The company actually came over and hosted a seminar for all of our staff to share with us the exciting news of the breakthrough that they were able to make related to this treatment for MRSA. Sterile Medical is another company that we've been working with, and disclaimer, that is not their filter here as a slide. So they have developed a filter that effectively removes E. coli and other bacteria from blood, and they are using that as a treatment to treat patients with sepsis. So we have been engaged with them. They're a California company, in doing some proof of concept where Qualtex and South Texas have collaborated. We have access to a lot of infectious disease materials that normally would not be available, and we're working with some proof of concept with them. And we're also working with the economic development to potentially have space for them to expand from California to Texas. So that's very exciting as well. What are our future plans? Well, we're looking for additional research partners. We feel like that we have a collaboration of services that can enable and enhance regenerative medicine. We're currently involved in an expansion project with both Qualtex and GenCure. And I threw this slide in on the right there of our headquarters building here in San Antonio that has blue skies in the background, because I wanted you to feel like that when you went home, you actually saw some blue skies in San Antonio. And on the left is our facility in Atlanta, Georgia. And with that, I just want to say thank you, appreciate you being here today, and we'll move on.